And that black kit that he wears is class as well.
Yeah, he's
Something about
he's
keepers in black
stylish.
kits. Yeah, something about keepers in black kits.
What is going on? How is he top because of the kit he wears?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of Delirious Debates. Obviously, episode 1 was a bit of like an anomaly because we've done the top 5 all-time Premier League positions. So we're now going to do top 5 current in each Premier League position. So we're starting with goalkeepers and the factors that we're going to include: current form, ability as a goalkeeper, and I mean, there's another one which is a bit like the last couple of years, but that's only for one specific goalkeeper, really, whether we're going to include them or not. So I'm going to kick off with my number 5, David De Gea.
I've also got David De Gea fifth. I'd like to have him higher, but obviously in the last year and a half or so, he's not performed to the standards we know he's capable of. So for that reason alone, I can't have him any higher than 5th right now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a toss-up between who I've got 5th and 4th, but I'm going to also go De Gea, but I was surprised that you two went De Gea because you two have been saying like how much you rate De Gea.
Rate him highly, yeah.
I thought you'd have him higher, but yeah, mine's De Gea.
Yeah, I've gone De Gea as well, but I mean, it's been a bit poor. I'd say poor the last couple of seasons, but you can't really ignore how good he is. Like his shot stopping ability is probably the best in the Prem.
That's what I mean. When we sort of consider goalkeeping ability, as it stands, he's still. I know it's a niche topic, but like keepers saving with their feet, he's the best keeper at that, and He is, but
do you not think sometimes that lets him down a bit?
Maybe.
I feel like sometimes he tries to go for things with his feet when he could just dive with his outstretch his arm and he could probably save some things.
Yeah,
I don't know what it is, but I reckon in the last year and a half his wrists have got weaker. Like even Krause's free kick the other on the weekend, good free kick.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
he should keep it out really.
Considering, so I'm going 5th because we said 5th. I feel like I should put my honourable mentions here because obviously they didn't make the list. Schmeichel's definitely one. I'd say
just purely based off last season, I'd probably give Dean Henderson a shout as an honourable mention. If he wasn't at United as second choice keeper, he'd be whichever other team's first choice.
Definitely not in contention for top 5, but as a goalkeeper, I like Carl Darlow. I know it's a weird shout.
Yeah, he does. He's been very good this season.
I really like Nick Pope. I think Nick Pope's a good keeper. I think he should be the England keeper. I even thought last season, Aaron Ramsdale was a good keeper. I don't think he's top 5 level, but I think he's a better keeper than the league.
Potential though. He's got potential.
I also quite like Martinez. He's at Villa now.
Very good keeper.
That's a steal for 15 million as well. Yeah. And even you could say Tom Heaton.
What else as well that will probably be in it in the coming seasons? Edouard Mendy.
Yeah, Mendy will be in there.
Obviously, it's too soon to put him in.
Yeah, it's too soon to put him in now, but he's going to be in the next couple of seasons. He'll definitely be up there.
So that's why I say by ability, because at the moment, by ability, he's top 5, but I just can't throw him in there just based on that alone.
Yeah, if we were just doing off current form this season, he would probably be top 2 maybe for me, but way too early to call a shot like that.
Right, so
4th then.
On to number 4, I've got Bernd Leno.
So I really rate him as a keeper, you know.
Yeah, for my 4th, it was between him and the man that I've picked, which I've picked Rui Patricio.
Ooh. I feel like
I don't think that's too much of a bad shout. I think it's a shout that you wouldn't think of.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I was about to say he's very underrated. I don't think people think of him as a top keeper.
I now think that you can't have Leno 3rd, so Leno's, I'm assuming, not in your top 5.
Leno's not in my top 5.
I think he's got to make it over Patricio.
Yeah, I think Leno's much better than Patricio. I think he's Arsenal's best player at the minute.
Yeah,
I mean, he made a couple of mistakes. Wolves, at the weekend, he made a couple of mistakes, but apart from that, the last couple of seasons, apart from when he's been injured, he's been fairly consistent from. If their defence didn't let him down, I think he'd have much more of a shout to be further up there, but because he does concede a fair few goals, hard to put him any higher than fourth.
Well, I think in the first 5 or 6 games of the season, he kept them in games. Even the Leeds game the other
exactly.
day, he kept them in the game.
I think Patricio is he's a class keeper though.
He is.
He's getting on with age, but I think he's a very, very good keeper.
And it's my issue, obviously, but I don't watch enough sort of Wolves games where he's prominent.
Yeah,
I don't think
you don't really
incredible
hear of him keeping Wolves in games or making game-saving saves.
Yeah,
I don't know.
In a way, that's credit to
I think
the Wolves.
he's quietly consistent. I think.
Yeah, he's one of them.
He's very, very consistent. Even
he
if
does exactly what he needs to do.
Wolves have been up now for how many seasons? 3. Is this their 4th season?
No, I think this is their third season.
And the past 2 seasons, he has been class. He's been one of Wolves' most consistent players.
Yeah. I'll give it to you because I don't think I've ever heard of him making a big mistake, but every other keeper has.
Yeah.
And he's a very quietly consistent keeper that he just gets along with exactly what he needs to do.
Goes under the radar a bit.
Yeah,
maybe it's because of his age. People don't really like. I mean, what is he now? He's got to be 33, 34.
I was going to say, I think he's about 30.
Keepers can play till quite late anyway. So
that's why I've still got him there.
So number 3, I'm going to go with a keeper that hopefully doesn't play against Blues in the FA Cup, Ederson.
I reckon we got the same list done.
Have you got Ederson third as well?
We've not even discussed this, but yeah, I've got Ederson third. I feel like a lot of people are going to say Ederson second, but I don't rate Ederson.
There's a definite reason why Ederson's not second, and we'll get into that.
You see what I don't like about Ederson, yeah? I mean, maybe you lot want to say you got third first, but...
Yeah,
who you got, Jamie?
I've got Llorente third.
Yeah, he's been harshly done now.
I've got Ederson, and I feel like us 3 have got the exact same list.
But the reason I've got Ederson third and what I don't like about him is he comes out too often, and not in a way that makes the goal smaller. Or like he just comes out and he makes the goal bigger every time.
I think he's very rash.
Yeah. Like, but that's just his style, though. Like we saw it twice in the game against Spurs. Both times, had he have stayed in his goal, I don't think both of them would have. Son probably would have scored the first one regardless, but Lo Celso's not finishing that second one.
No, definitely not.
And this is not obviously just going off the game. He does it all the time.
I think was it the Manchester derby where he hit it to McTominay? Is that the game I'm thinking of?
Yeah,
I think so.
Where McTominay scored from about 30 yards. There's absolutely no need for him to come out. It's a shoddy clearance. And as good as he is with his feet, in some occasions where you'll see on Twitter a game against Fulham where he smashed a 70-yard pass. There's games in the big games where he tries to do that, makes a mistake, and it costs him.
Yeah, I think like the Man City team is so good as a whole, and obviously this season, it's not necessarily been the case, but they're so used to just getting the results. Like even if he has poor performances, they go under the radar because they might not necessarily cost them the game. They'll still outscore their opponent.
Yeah.
So I just feel like if he was at like a weaker side, he wouldn't even be in the conversation. Maybe.
I think in the 20, I'd say the season where they got 100 points, he was the best keeper in the league.
Yeah.
But since then, obviously, he's been outshone by a keeper we'll mention in a minute. And
my reason for having him second is obviously because he's won the title for them how many times? Once, twice.
Twice, I think.
Maybe just one.
I think he's won it twice now.
And for me, he literally no other keeper would work for Man City with the way they play. He's literally a perfect keeper for how they play. I mean, I know it's not
in terms of playing out the back.
Yeah, I know you don't take into consideration too much how good a keeper is like on the ball, but
it is important.
For Man City, that's what they do.
Yeah.
No, that's what I mean. For Man City, it's literally integral to their team for their team to work. Because if you think they had Joe Hart, who is he was a perfectly good keeper when Pep took over at City, but even Pep knew that he wasn't good enough to play that role of playing it out the back and some of the passes that Ederson makes. I mean, how many assists has he got over his time at City? He's probably, it's like for me, he just worked perfectly with City's style, and that's why for me I've got him second.
Starting position when City have the ball is always so high. Normally it's like halfway into his half, and he's always there to receive the ball, pop it off. But imagine if that was Lloris. If Lloris' starting position was there and we were playing passes back to him, I don't think he wouldn't be able to handle it. I think Ederson is one of the best keepers I've seen with his feet.
Definitely.
Obviously, it's not the most important factor as a keeper, but as the game it's becoming more
It still
modern.
it's still in goalkeeping ability. You still need to have it, and that's why I think De Gea's dropped off over the last couple.
Thing is, even watching Championship football now, every team tries to play out from the back, and it's.
I don't know if you watched the Cod Flues game the other day.
But we tried to, and it just doesn't
work.
No,
I'm on about us.
Oh, but yeah, well, even we tried to, but our keeper and defenders haven't got the ability to do it. But Ederson sort of makes it look effortless. Yeah, it scares me.
I think it worries me. Yeah, I really don't like people bringing the centre backs and the full backs close to you. It just puts you put yourself under pressure. Second, I've got Hugo Lloris, and I assume yeah, Charlie, and
obviously I've got Ederson second. So
yeah, I think
go on, Dan.
I just think Lloris, and in fairness, I don't think he's world class like we spoke about last week, but I do think, I don't know, there's something about him that doesn't make him world class. I don't know whether it's because he doesn't convince me, or his presence I think his presence in the box is not as good as an Ederson or who we're going to say first. But I think as a shot stopper, he's the best keeper in the league, so he has to be second.
See, I think Lloris consistently has been one of the best shot stoppers in the league. Like you say, I feel like his distribution's always let him down. He's definitely worked on it a lot, but it's never necessarily been great. But I feel like Lloris has definitely got a big mistake in him, and we've seen that. I've seen that over my time as a Spurs fan. However, since the restart, at the end of last season, halfway through last season, he's been the best keeper in the league for me. And since the restart, since his injury, he's come back and
that's what I was going to say.
Alisson's obviously in the conversation. Ederson is a better keeper than him, I believe, but I feel like on form, there's not been a better keeper than Hugo.
Yeah, I mean, he was notorious for not being able to keep clean sheets the past couple of seasons, but since, like you said, since lockdown, well, more since Mourinho has been able to adapt his way of playing and sort of push that onto the team, we've sort of played in a more sensible manner, and it's allowed us to keep more clean sheets, and it makes Lloris look better. We're not obviously taking away from him, but I think he's kept a lot more clean sheets now.
His save against Mason Mount in the London Derby was vital. It was a great save.
But if I'm not mistaken, though, there's been I don't know if it's been the past couple of seasons, but there's been times where Spurs have had the best defensive record in the league.
Yeah,
but
up there at least.
Yeah, at least up
there. We have it now.
Yeah, you do. Currently, you do. Yeah, but like Charlie just said, he's consistently not been able to keep clean sheets over the years. But with the best defensive record in the league, what like that's why for me he can't be for any higher up than third, because I can't remember what season it was, but he consistently made mistake after mistake.
Yeah.
And fair enough, it might have only added up to 4 mistakes or whatever, but as a keeper, if you're making that many mistakes in one season, I just don't think. I don't know. I don't think he can be classed as like a world class keeper.
Didn't he make a mistake in the World Cup as well, or 1 or 2?
Yeah, it was in the final, but they were already winning 4-1 at that point anyway.
I know, yeah, but even still, you've got a reputation to keep. You've got a lead to keep. We've seen madder comebacks than 4-1 in football, and when you're trying to do Cruyff turns in a World Cup final, I don't know.
What was his injury? It was quite a bad arm.
Broke his elbow, didn't he?
Broke his elbow.
Broke it.
Landed on it all good,
That was you can't say that was a mistake how he did that, because didn't that result in a goal or something? I can't remember what happened, but that wasn't a mistake. So I'd say in the past season he hasn't made a obvious mistake. But for me, like we said, it's like the past 3 seasons that I'm taking into account.
I feel like if there was a stat, I don't know whether there is somewhere, keepers who make saves, especially in the top 6, keepers who make saves that keep their teams in games and win their team's points, I feel like Lloris would be
couple penalty saves,
probably first. Penalty saves, like Mason Mount, if he doesn't save that, we lose the game.
Yeah.
Man City, he made that Ruben Diaz one where the cross came in from the corner.
I thought that was straight at him.
It was, but he still has to get in the right position when the ball's coming over. It's not a hard save, but it's still he's making saves that
one you have to make,
are winning us points.
I do still think in terms of when the factor goalkeeping ability comes into it, I think his command of his area, and that's I think it's partially due to his frame. He's 6'6'1". He's not a massive guy. I don't think he commands his box as well as Ederson, Alisson.
The thing is, you say that, but I rarely ever see him make mistakes. If a ball comes in from a corner, his decision making is always good. He knows when to come. He knows when he will get the ball. He knows when he won't get the ball.
But that's why he's a top keeper. I just think in comparison to all the other top keepers, his command of his area is probably the worst.
Yeah, that's honest, because he can't control his height, though.
I didn't think Hugo was as vocal as he is. Like the Amazon documentary showed me a lot about him that I didn't realize. I remember I always used to think, why is this guy captain over Harry Kane? It never made sense to me. But
even with
the documentary, I understand completely now.
Even with obviously you can hear the players with no fans. You can hear him every time the ball comes in. Focus, away. Every single time you can hear him screaming at his defenders. I know you want that as a keeper.
Hugo, hello.
Right, should we move on to number one? I mean, we've all got the same number one.
It's unanimous first place.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious.
Sam Johnston. Oh, sorry.
No. Yeah, Alisson for me is not just the best keeper in the league. I think he's the most well-rounded keeper in the league.
Yeah,
look, he's the best keeper at the minute.
I think he's our black. I don't watch enough foreign football, but I hear a lot about our black.
Yeah, but at the minute, I feel like, especially in the Prem and Champions League winner, it's hard to.
He's got to be up there.
Look past him.
I can't find much faults for Alisson.
No, there aren't. Other than he has maybe the odd mistake, but it's like every keeper.
Every keeper does, yeah.
And that black kit that he wears is class as well.
Yeah, he's stylish.
Yeah, something about keepers in black kits.
What is going on? How is he top because of the kit he wears?
Obviously, no, but he's suave. He's like black with a gold badge. Yeah. Oh, it's a nice kit.
Not that he designs the kit or anything.
No, but he definitely contributes. You can tell. Yeah. I'm definitely putting a picture of him in the middle with his black kit on, looking like the suavest goalkeeper in the league.
Nice headband.
The headband. It's just oozes class.
Yeah.
And I feel like we should be discussing and putting more detail into why he's first, but it's pretty obvious to anyone who watches.
Yeah, it really speaks for itself.
I don't think there'd be any other reason apart from club bias as to why anyone put anyone else first. There is no logical reason that anyone could put Ederson, Llorente, above him at the minute.
The thing about recording for YouTube that I don't like is if one of us gets a worrying text on camera and you can't really hide the reaction.
What, did you just get a worrying text?
Yeah, but that's me.
I'm definitely zooming.
The only reason I mentioned it is because when you watch it back, you'll probably know it.
I want to say that this obviously weren't really a debate. It was just sort of, we had a very similar top five. I feel like as the positions go on, we'll have more of a
it'll definitely be more
varied list. Like fullbacks, there's so many to choose from. I feel like we'll start shouting at each other.
Dan, did we have the exact same list?
I think we did. De Gea, Leno,
Ederson, Llorente, Alisson.
Oh yeah. So
well.
what we've discovered
basically is just Jamie that doesn't know.
Jamie doesn't know football that well, which is okay. It's fine. Jamie,
no, but I
call out Rui
quit the episode
now.
How is that mad? How?
Thanks for watching. I'm gonna for God's sake.
I want to know how. I want to know how that's a mad shout.
Bro, it's just not the shout I would have gone for. I don't think it's outrageous. I think Patricio's a good keeper, isn't it? But...
So you just sat there and said that's a mad shout, and then said, "Oh no, it's not a mad shout. It's just not the shout I would have went for." What is it? What do you mean,
Charles? I might go.
It's too early for Jamie to be trying to pressure me. End the episode.
All right. Thanks for watching. Shall I do all the corny YouTube stuff, or just do we leave it there?
Go on.
Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel if you want more Delirious debates. We've got more stuff coming, and we'll see you for the next episode.
Rui Patricio.
The Modern Game Podcast.